guys, welcome back to another video, and today we have the event for Monster Jam Points Competition Season 2, event number 1. So if you guys don't know which truck you're in, then make sure you go check out the Field of Trucks video. I posted that video on Tuesday, and then also in that video I explained exactly how the point system is going to work, although through every round in the event I will basically say how many points each truck got, like when they lose in that round. Like for example, if you lose in round 1, you'll get just 1 point, and then I will go over that for every single round. And then at the end of every event, I will also go over the current point standings at the very end of the video. So if you guys lose, and then for whatever reason you don't want to keep watching, then just skip to the end where I announce the point standings at least, so you can see where you are in the point standings. So as I said before, you're in the same truck for every single event. So if you guys didn't make it in the points competition, I'm sorry, but I made it pretty clear that you're going to be in the same truck for each event, and it was very, very important to sign up on that video. So yeah, now that we're over a minute into the video, let's take a look at all of the races in round number 1. So like I said before, if you guys don't know which truck you're in, then make sure you go check out the Field of Trucks video, and then take a look and see who you're facing in round number 1. Now, I know I've said this like a million times now, but there's 80 trucks, and eventually we will get down to where we need a fast loser, but the fast loser is going to be very fair. Basically, in each round where we need one, the 2 losers that have the best run will be the 2 that have a chance to come back. So there's going to be no favorites or anything like that, just the 2 losers. The 2 losers with the best run will face off in the fast loser. When we get there, though, round 1 does not need one. So, yeah, round 1 is going to end off with Yeti and the Gold Bakugan Dragonoid. So anyways, guys, without further ado, we're going to kick things off with Great Clips Mohawk Warrior taking on the Fire Megalodon. And also, very quickly, before we get started, I just want to show you guys the setup. So, of course, here's the ramp with all the trucks next to it. And, of course, we're going to go down the ramp. Now, my NASCAR track is in the way, but the tape, or this black stuff right here, is tape that's just sitting on the floor, so that's not really going to affect them if they drive over it. But the laptop is at the end, as it always is. I also have these 2 things here to kind of extend the line out so none of them go past it. And now if both trucks do hit the laptop, the winner will be whoever hits it first. Unless it's simultaneous, then we'll do a rerun. But normally, no matter what happens, if they both hit it, I normally do a rerun. But from here on out, especially at least for the points competition, whoever hits this line first is going to be the one that advances. So, yeah, that is the setup. But anyways, guys, now let's get into the event. So, Monster Jam Points Competition Season 2 is underway. And the first winner is going to be Fire Megalodon over Mohawk Warrior. So, Mohawk Warrior will get 1 point. Next up, we have a Fire and Ice battle between the Fire Monster Mutt Husky and Ice Alien Invasion. And Monster Mutt Husky is going to flip over. Alien Invasion hits the laptop. Well, not the laptop, but that thing right there that's on the line right there. So Alien Invasion wins, and Monster Mutt Husky gets 1 point. Next up, we have Sparkle Smash taking on Stinger Unleashed. And it's going to be Sparkle Smash. Next up, we have Jurassic Attack taking on Octonator. And Jurassic Attack flips over. That gives the win to Octonator. Next up, we have Soldier Fortune taking on the Ice Monster Mutt Dalmatian. And it's going to be Monster Mutt Dalmatian Ice. Next up, we have the Training Truck Zombie taking on Zombie Pirate's Curse. And it's going to be, they almost hit me, but they don't. And you can see right there that Training Truck Zombie, especially if you go from this angle, you can see that he takes the win. Next up, we have Bounty Hunter taking on Ice Cream Man. And Ice Cream Man flips over in the middle of his run, and Bounty Hunter will take the win. Next up, we have Fire Monster Mutt Rottweiler taking on Wildflower. And it's going to be Wildflower with the upset win over the Fire Monster Mutt Rottweiler. Next up, we have the Mystery Machine taking on the Ice Northern Nightmare. And it's going to be the Mystery Machine. Next up, we have Sasquatch taking on the Ride Truck Gravedigger. And Sasquatch flips over, and that will give the win to the Ride Truck Gravedigger. Next up, we have Fire Mohawk Warrior taking on Aftershock. And it's going to be Aftershock taking the win. You guys can see right there from the aerial view that he does get it. Next up, we have the Zombie Megalodon taking on Wonder Woman. And it's going to be Zombie Megalodon. Next up, we have the Inverse Brodozer taking on Fire Whiplash. And it's going to be Inverse Brodozer. Next up, we have the Creature Son of a Digger taking on Iron Outlaw. And it's going to be Iron Outlaw. Next up, we've got Cyclops taking on Fire Horsepower. And Cyclops hits it first. As you guys remember in the beginning of the video, I said whoever hits it first will win. So Cyclops takes the win. Next up, we've got Ice Monster Mutt taking on Bad News Travels Fast. And Monster Mutt flips over, and that gives the win to Bad News Travels Fast. Next up, we have the second Fire and Ice battle of round number 1. We have Fire Zombie and Ice Soldier Fortune. And it's going to be Ice Soldier Fortune. He hit it first. If you guys want to even go back and take a look, you can. Ice Soldier Fortune hit it first, and he will take the win. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Husky taking on Training Trucks Earthshaker. And it's going to be Earthshaker, I believe, hit it first. Let me go. Alright, so I just went back and looked, and just barely, Earthshaker takes the win. If you even want to go back and look, you can even slow it down and put it like in half speed or something like that, just to see. But just barely, Husky loses. Earthshaker advances. Next up, we have a battle of two trucks from Mix 11. We have Batman taking on the Elemental Trucks Gravedigger. And it's gonna be Batman. Next up, we have the Black World Finals 19 Max D taking on the Zombie Mohawk Warrior. And it's gonna be Mohawk Warrior taking the win. Max D had a terrible run. Next up, we have Inverse Alien Invasion against the Ice Bakugan Dragonoid. And it's going to be Dragonoid taking the win. Next up, we have Time Flies taking on Fire Max D. And it's going to be Time Flies. Next up, we have World Finals 21 taking on the Overcast Blue Thunder. And, oh, let me go back and take a look and see who hit it first. Now, going back and looking at it, that was really close. And also, in the beginning of the video, I said, if it's pretty much simultaneous, I'm going to rerun it. And I think that was as close as simultaneous as you can get. So we're going to do a rerun. So we switched up the lanes. Here goes the rerun. And it's going to be, this time, it is clearly Blue Thunder Overcast. Next up, we have Ice El Toro Loco taking on Monster Mutt Dalmatian. And it's going to be Ice El Toro Loco. Next up, we have Horsepower taking on Nomad Avenger. And it's going to be Horsepower. Next up, we have El Toro Loco taking on Ice Dragon. And it's going to be Ice Dragon. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Poodle taking on the Fire Pirate's Curse. And it's going to be Monster Mutt Poodle. Next up, we have Big Kahuna taking on the Zombie Northern Nightmare. And it's going to be Big Kahuna. Next up, we have Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse taking on Brodozer. And Pirate's Curse flips over. That gives the win to Brodozer. Next up, we have Wildfire taking on the Nitro Neon's Max D. And it's going to be Max D. Next up, we have Stone Crusher taking on Slinger. And it's going to be Slinger. Next up, we have Fire Son of a Digger taking on Inverse Higher Education. And it's going to be Inverse Higher Education. Next up, we have Overcast Dragon taking on Ice Octonator. And it's going to be Ice Octonator. Next up, we have Scooby-Doo taking on Queen Bee. And it's going to be Scooby-Doo as Queen Bee turns to the side. Next up, we have the Red Bakugan Dragonoid taking on the Blue Crustacean. And, ooh, Crustacean turns to the side. I'm sorry if I didn't get it on the camera there. But from the aerial view, you guys can clearly see that Crustacean takes the win. Next up, we have Overcast Zombie taking on Ice Earthshaker. And it's going to be Ice Earthshaker. Next up, we have Fire Soldier Fortune Black Ops taking on Whiplash. And it's going to be... Let me go back and take a look. Well, looking at that clip, it was pretty simultaneous. I also didn't get the full truck of Soldier Fortune Black Ops in the camera, so I apologize for that. But it was pretty simultaneous, so we're going to switch up the lanes and do a rerun. So we have switched up the lanes, and here goes the rerun. And this time, it's going to be Whiplash. Next up, we have Pirate's Curse taking on Avenger. And it's going to be... Oh, man, that is super close. But as you guys can see from the aerial view, it's going to be Pirate's Curse. Next up, we have the Training Trucks El Toro Loco taking on Ice Blue Thunder. And I'm pretty sure that was simultaneous, but let me go take a look. So going back and looking at it, that was really, really close. I think we're going to do a rerun. So we have switched up the lanes. Here goes the rerun. And this time it's going to be Blue Thunder. Next up, the final race of round number 1 is going to be Yeti taking on the Bakugan Dragonoid Gold. And it's going to be Yeti with a block. So here's a look at all of the trucks that lost in the first round. So all of these trucks for event number 1 will get 1 point. Again, like I said in the beginning, I'm going to go over the point standings at the end of the video. But for now, those are all the trucks that lost in round 1, so they get 1 point. And now it is time for round number 2. Here are all 40 trucks that remain. Now, if you lose in round 2, you get 3 points. So if you lose in this round, you'll get 3 points. And like I said, here's all the trucks in the round. And we are going to kick things off with a Fire and Ice battle between Fire Megalodon and Ice Alien Invasion. So round number 2 is underway. And Megalodon rolls over, so he is going to get 3 points as he has been eliminated. Ice Alien Invasion moves on. Next up, we have Sparkle Smash taking on Octonator. And it's going to be Sparkle Smash taking the win. Next up, we have a battle of two very fast trucks. We have the Ice Monster Mutt Dalmatian and the Training Trucks Zombie. And it's going to be Training Trucks Zombie. Next up, we have Bounty Hunter taking on Wildflower. Remember, Wildflower had that big win in round 1. Let's see if he can keep it going in round 2. And, oh, I think he will. That's one of the closest races so far. But as you guys can see at the top of your screen, just barely, Wildflower is going to take the win over Bounty Hunter. Next up, we have the Mystery Machine taking on the Ride Truck Gravedigger. And it's going to be the Ride Truck Gravedigger. Next up, we have Aftershock taking on Zombie Megalodon. And, oh, that's a close race. They did not get to where the laptop is, but just barely you guys can see that Aftershock will take the win. Next up, we have Inverse Brodozer taking on Iron Outlaw. And it's going to be Inverse Brodozer. Next up, we have Cyclops taking on Bad News Travels Fast. And it's going to be Cyclops. Next up, we have Ice Soldier Fortune taking on Training Trucks Earthshaker. And it's going to be Training Trucks Earthshaker. Next up, we have Batman taking on the Zombie Mohawk Warrior. And Batman flips over. That's going to give the win to Zombie Mohawk Warrior. Next up, we have the Ice Bakugan Dragonoid taking on Time Flies. And it's going to be... That was an interesting race, but Time Flies takes the win. Next up, we have Overcast Blue Thunder taking on Ice El Toro Loco. And it's going to be... Let me go look. Alright, so I looked back at the video, and El Toro Loco just barely hit it before Blue Thunder. And El Toro Loco also had a way more of a head of steam than Blue Thunder did, so El Toro Loco was going way faster. So we're going to give the win to the Ice El Toro Loco. Next up, we have Horsepower taking on Ice Dragon. And it's going to be Horsepower. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Poodle taking on Big Kahuna. And Monster Mutt Poodle flips over. That gives the win to Big Kahuna. Next up, we have Brodozer taking on the Nitro Neons Max D. And it's going to be Nitro Neons Max D. Next up, we have Slinger taking on Inverse Higher Education. And it's going to be, I believe, Higher Education, but let me look. I just went back and looked, and clearly Higher Education hit it first. Like I said before, like when it's really close like this, you guys can even rewind it for yourself and take a look. You can even slow down the speed of the video. And Higher Education did clearly hit it first before Slinger. Next up, we have Ice Octonator taking on Scooby-Doo. And it's going to be Scooby-Doo. He clearly hit that first. I don't even have to go back and look. Scooby-Doo hit it first, and he will take the win. Next up, we have Blue Crustacean taking on Ice Earthshaker. And it's going to be Ice Earthshaker. Next up, we have Whiplash taking on Pirate's Curse. And Whiplash hit it first. Whiplash takes the win. Next up, we have the final race of round number 2, and it's a battle of the ice trucks. We have Ice Blue Thunder taking on Yeti. And Yeti almost flips over. He saves it, but that's going to cost him. Blue Thunder takes the win. So all of these trucks lost in round number 2, which means they get a total of 3 points for losing in round 2. And now it is time for round number 3. 20 trucks remain. If you lose in round 3, you get 5 points. So if you lose in this round, you'll get a total of 5 points. There's all the races. And we're going to kick things off with Ice Alien Invasion taking on Sparkle Smash. So round number 3 is underway. And the first winner is going to be Alien Invasion, because the racing lane, as you guys can see, the ramp right here is if you go straight. So straight across here, if we were to draw a straight line, Alien Invasion would take the win. So Sparkle Smash has been eliminated, and he will get 5 points for this event. Next up, we have a very fast truck with Training Trucks Zombie, but he's taking on Wildflower, who already has a few upset wins. Let's see if Wildflower can continue. It's going to be Zombie. He puts an end to Wildflower, so Wildflower will get 5 points, and Zombie moves on. Next up, we have the Ride Truck Gravedigger taking on Aftershock. And it's going to be the Ride Truck Gravedigger. Next up, we have Inverse Brodozer taking on Cyclops. And Inverse Brodozer has a terrible run. He didn't even fall off the side. He just rolled over, and Cyclops is going to take the win. Next up, we have Training Trucks Earthshaker taking on Zombie Mohawk Warrior. And it's going to be Earthshaker. Mohawk Warrior did not hit these trucks on the side, and clearly Earthshaker takes the win. Next up, we have Time Flies taking on Ice El Toro Loco. And Time Flies clearly hit it first. Time Flies will take the win. Next up, we have Horsepower taking on Big Kahuna. And Horsepower will take the win. Next up, we have Nitro Neons Max D taking on Inverse Higher Education. Higher Education takes the win. I don't even think Max D hit it. Or maybe he did just barely, but clearly Higher Education hit it first, so he takes the win. Next up, we have Scooby-Doo taking on Ice Earthshaker. And it's going to be Scooby-Doo taking the win. Next up, we have the final race in round number 3. It's going to be Whiplash taking on Ice Blue Thunder. Whiplash does a ton of barrel rolls, and that is going to cost him. Ice Blue Thunder is advancing. So here's a look at all of the trucks that lost in round number 3. So they will all get 5 points for this event. So over here is the trucks that lost in round 1. They get 1 point. Then over here is all the trucks that lost in round 2. So they get 3 points. And then the trucks that lost in round 3 get 5 points. But now we are down to 10. And this is where the fast loser races are going to come into play. So let me just explain it really good here, since this is the first event. So there's 10 trucks. Now obviously there's going to be 5 winners and 5 losers, which would put 5 trucks in the next round. But of course 6 would make it even. So out of the 5 losers, whichever 2 have the best run will get a chance in the fast loser. I'm going to do it completely fair like that. There's going to be no favorites played or anything like that. Just whichever 2 losers out of the 5 have the best run will have a chance at coming back in the fast loser. So these 10 trucks remain, and we are going to kick things off with Alien Invasion Ice against Zombie Training Truck. So round number 4 is underway. And Alien Invasion Ice flips over. That gives the win to Zombie Training Truck. Next up, we have Ride Truck Gravedigger taking on Cyclops. Gravedigger hit it first, but Cyclops is definitely going to have a good chance to come back in that fast loser race. But Gravedigger advances to round 5. Next up, we have the Training Truck's Earthshaker taking on Time Flies. And Earthshaker takes the win. Now here's where Time Flies went. He went really close to hitting the laptop, so he could have a chance in the fast loser. We'll see what happens. But Earthshaker is advancing to round 5. Next up, we have Horsepower taking on Inverse Higher Education. Horsepower has a terrible run. Higher Education takes the win. Now the final race of round number 4 until the fast loser race is going to be Scooby-Doo taking on Ice Blue Thunder. Scooby-Doo takes the win. So these 5 trucks remain, but now it's time for the fast loser race. So these are all 5 of the trucks that lost in that round. Now it's no question that Horsepower and Ice Alien Invasion had the 2 worst runs, and it's no question that Cyclops had the best run because he's the only loser that hit the laptop. So he's in. These 2 trucks were out. Now I had to look really closely between Ice Blue Thunder and Time Flies to see who was closer to hitting the laptop. But just barely, Blue Thunder was closer. So Blue Thunder and Cyclops will face each other in the fast loser. These 3 trucks get 7 points, and the loser of this race will get 7 points as well. If you guys disagree with me, I'm sorry, but you can even go back and watch these 2 trucks races. Blue Thunder was slightly closer to the laptop than Time Flies was. So these 3 trucks are out. Here's your fast loser race. Who is going to move on to round number 5? Ice Blue Thunder or Cyclops? It's going to be Cyclops taking the win. So these 4 trucks have been eliminated in round 4, and they will get a total of 7 points for this event. And now it is time for round number 5. These 6 trucks remain. Now if you lose in this round, you'll get 9 points for this event. So let's go over the field of trucks. So inside of the Training Truck Zombie, we have Monster Jams times 10. Inside of the Ride Truck Gravedigger, we have Supper Lars Billy. Inside of the Training Trucks Earthshaker, we have Chase Bantz. Inside of Inverse Higher Education, we have Jacob Shantz. Inside of Scooby-Doo, we have Aaron Ray. And inside of Cyclops, we have Dolores Simmons. So, as you guys can tell, there's 6 trucks. Now, of course, just like last round, there's going to be 3 winners and 3 losers. Although last round it was 5 and 5. But this round, there will be 3 winners and 3 losers. So, when we're down to 3, between the 3 losers, whichever 2 have the best run will face off in the fast loser to get the last spot in the semifinals. So only 2 trucks are going to end up losing in this round, and they will get 9 points. So these 6 trucks remain, which, by the way, it's kind of funny. We literally have 3 chase pieces still in it. These 2, an Earthshaker, and then 3 regular trucks. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But we're going to kick things off with the Training Truck Zombie taking on the Ride Truck Gravedigger. Who is going to move on to the semifinals? Zombie Training Truck or Gravedigger Ride Truck? Clearly, Gravedigger hit it first, but Zombie is probably going to come back as a fast loser, but we'll see what happens. Gravedigger, though, is in the semifinals. Next up, we have the Training Trucks Earthshaker taking on Inverse Higher Education. And it's going to be Inverse Higher Education taking the win over Earthshaker Training Truck. Next up, we have the final race till the fast loser. It's going to be Scooby-Doo versus Cyclops. It's going to be Scooby-Doo. So these three trucks are in the semifinals, but now it's time for the fast loser race. So obviously these three trucks lost, and Zombie obviously had the best run. He hit the laptop. So these two trucks really did not have good runs, but looking at it closely, Earthshaker did have a better run than Cyclops did. So Cyclops is officially eliminated. He already had a chance at the fast loser last time anyways. So Cyclops will get 9 points. And so will the loser of this race, but the winner will be in the semifinals. Let's see who it's going to be. So who is going to go to the semifinals? Trainee Trucks Zombie or Trainee Trucks Earthshaker? Let's go back and take a look. Man, looking back at the clip, that was just too close to call. We're going to switch up the lanes and do a rerun. This time, it's going to be Zombie. So Earthshaker Training Truck and Cyclops get 9 points for this event. Training Truck Zombie is in the semifinals. And now we are down to the semifinals of Monster Jam Points Competition Season 2, Event Number 1. If you lose in this round, you will get 11 points. So let's go over the field of trucks. Inside of the Ride Truck Gravedigger, we have Supper Lars Billy. Inside of the Inverse Higher Education, we have Jacob Shantz. Inside of Scooby-Doo, we have Aaron Ray. And inside of the Training Truck Zombie, we have Monster Jams times 10. So this is your semifinals. Like I said, if you lose, you get 11 points. Let's see who's going to go to the championship race. Is it going to be Ride Truck Gravedigger or Inverse Higher Education? Who is going to go to the championship race? It's going to be Higher Education. I do not believe Gravedigger fell off the side. So Gravedigger gets 11 points for this event. So sorry to Supper Lars Billy. Better luck in event number 2. But Jacob Shantz in Higher Education is in the championship race. So who is going to meet Jacob Shantz in the championship race? Is it going to be Aaron Ray in Scooby-Doo or Monster Jams times 10 and the Training Truck Zombie? Let's find out. It's going to be Training Truck Zombie. Scooby-Doo did pretty much the same thing that Ride Truck Gravedigger did. He flips over, and that costs him. Scooby-Doo and Aaron Ray has lost in the semifinals. You get 11 points. But Monster Jams times 10 is in the championship race. So Ride Truck Gravedigger and Scooby-Doo get 11 points for this event. And now we are down to the championship race of event number 1 of Season 2 of the Monster Jam Points Competition. So the winner will get 15 points for this event and be the points leader heading into event number 2. And the loser will get 13 points. So inside of the Inverse Higher Education, we have Jacob Shantz. And inside of the Training Truck Zombie, we have Monster Jams times 10. So your winner of Monster Jam Points Competition Season 2, Event Number 1, is going to be none other than Jacob Shantz in the Inverse Higher Education. He hit it first. You guys can even go back and take a look. He hit it first, and he is the winner of Event Number 1. Congratulations to Jacob Shantz. He now has 15 points. And Monster Jams times 10, you were so close, man. You fell just short. And Training Truck Zombie is definitely going to be a fast truck this season. But you get 13 points, and Higher Education gets 15. So I'm now going to type up the full point standings after this event and show it right at the end of this video, just like I'm going to do after every event. But, like I said, congratulations to Jacob Shantz in Inverse Higher Education for winning Event Number 1. And he is now the truck to beat heading into event number 2. So now that we are almost 24 minutes into this video, here's the current point standings after event number 1. Now I'm going to go through this very, very quickly, so just look for your name and your truck, and then you can see how many points you have after event number 1. So, yeah, here they all are right here. So, like, for example, 11 through 20 all have 5 points because they lost in round 3, I believe. And then 21 through 40 all have 3 points. So, again, like I said, just look for your name and your truck, and you can see how many points you have. So again, 41 through 80 all have just 1 point because they all lost in round number 1. Obviously, your total amount of points is going to add up through each event, but this is just the first event, so it's pretty much just whatever round you lost in is how many points you have, or however many points are associated with that round. So here is the rest of the field here, coming down to about the final 12. So here they are right here. Now where it says Savage Boy 84 and Queen Bee, that was supposed to say 1 point, but I accidentally didn't put it there. But yeah, that is the current point standings after event number 1 of Season 2 of the Monster Jam Points Competition. So that's basically going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure you guys do subscribe, leave a like on the video, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys for event number 2, which should be on Friday.